Corticosteroids. You've probably heard of them, right? Maybe as prednisone or you've used a cortisol cream. They're a total go-to for inflammation, but they come with a hidden cost, a pretty big one. So in this explainer, we're going to uncover those risks and look at some really powerful natural alternatives that you might not even know exist.
Man, this quote, it really hits home for me. I actually spent years on prednisone because I had this horrible poison ivy. And yeah, it worked for a while until it didn't. I got a whole bunch of side effects, and then one day, poof, it just stopped working. Left me in a real bind.
And my story really just illustrates the double-edged sword of these drugs, you know? They give you a solution, sure, but way too often it's at the cost of creating a much, much bigger problem down the road. So how do they work? Well, it's a pretty straightforward and honestly a kind of blunt approach. Whether it's a pill you're taking or a cream you're rubbing on, corticosteroids basically work by just shutting down your body's immune system.
This slide just captures the whole problem perfectly. The goal, of course, is to reduce inflammation. That's what we want. But the method? Disabling your body's own natural defenses. It's a massive trade-off. You get some short-term relief, but in exchange for long-term vulnerability.
And believe me, these drugs are prescribed for a huge range of things. Everything from autoimmune disorders like arthritis and lupus to breathing issues like asthma and even digestive problems like IBS. They are a staple in modern medicine, for sure.
Now here's the really crucial part. The longer you use them, the bigger the risk of something called corticosteroid resistance. This is that dangerous spot I found myself in, where your body just stops responding to the drug completely. And if you're relying on it, well, you're left with no effective treatment.
And the consequences of just shutting down your immune system like that, they're significant. Your body pays a really heavy price, and it leads to this whole cascade of side effects.
It often starts with changes you can actually see. First up is something called Cushing syndrome, and it brings this very distinct set of physical changes. You get a puffy, rounded moon face, a gut starts to protrude, and you get muscle loss in your legs and butt.
On top of all that, significant weight gain is a very, very common side effect. I can definitely attest to that one from my own experience.
But the side effects, they don't stop there. Long-term use can lead to much more serious internal problems, like osteoporosis, which makes your bones brittle and weak, and even diabetes.
And the list goes on to include cataracts, which clouds up your vision, and some really severe mood swings. And these are not just minor inconveniences, you know? They can have a huge impact on your quality of life.
But out of all of them, the biggest side effect is immunosuppression. I mean, it's what the drug is designed to do, but it is also its most dangerous consequence. Your innate immune system, your body's first line of defense, it just becomes dangerously weak.
So, what happens when your defenses are down? It's like leaving the front door wide open for opportunistic microbes. These are the bacteria and viruses that a healthy immune system would normally just swat away. But in a weakened state, they take full advantage and, as the source material puts it so well, they kick you when you're down. All right, so that's the problem, and it's a serious one. But now, let's shift gears and start exploring the solution, starting with the single most powerful first step that you can take. Which brings us to the most important question of all. Is there a better way to manage inflammation without totally wrecking our immune system in the process? And the answer to that is a huge yes. The foundation of this whole natural approach, and the most important place for anyone to start, is vitamin D3. Now, this is where we have to totally reframe how we think about vitamin D. It's not just a vitamin, it's actually a steroid hormone. I want you to think of it like nature's prednisone, a safe, effective alternative that helps modulate the immune system without all those devastating side effects.
So vitamin D3 is the absolute cornerstone, but we can build on that with other amazing natural compounds to create a really powerful anti-inflammatory toolkit. And of course, it goes without saying you should always check with a healthcare professional before you start any new supplement regimen. For example, did you know there are plant-based steroids? False unicorn root is a traditional Chinese herb that's great for just general inflammation. Licorice root is excellent for skin conditions like psoriasis, and it also acts like a natural antihistamine. And then there's fenugreek, which is especially effective for inflammation in the lungs.
Two other key supports are adrenal glandular extract, which helps your adrenal glands. Those are the glands that make your body's own natural steroids function better. And then there's a compound called TUDCA, which is a type of purified bile salt. I know, that sounds pretty strange, but just bear with me for a second.
I know what you're thinking. Bile salts for inflammation? It sounds really odd, but the science behind it is absolutely fascinating.
To understand how this works, we need to talk about the vitamin D receptor, or the VDR. Just think of it like a little docking station inside your cells. When vitamin D3 comes along and docks here, it triggers a powerful immune response. It's like flipping on a switch.
But here's the problem. Some bacteria and viruses, they're smart. They can actually block or lock these vitamin D receptors, shutting down a really crucial part of your immune system. This is where TUDCA comes in. It basically acts like a key, unlocking that receptor and reactivating your immune response even when you're under attack. Pretty cool, right?
So, when we put all these pieces together, what we really get is a whole new framework for managing inflammation. One that works with your body, not against it.
So just to recap, your natural toolkit starts with that solid foundation of vitamin D3. Then we can add support with specific plant steroids, adrenal glandulars to boost your body's own steroid production, and TUDCA to make sure those immune communication lines stay wide open.
And this leaves us with one final thought. Instead of just looking for a better pill, whether that pill is a drug or a supplement, what if the real solution is a completely different approach? One that focuses on understanding why your body is inflamed and actually addressing the root cause.